Welcome to Giant Cocktails, a podcast where two lifelong fans talk about the San Francisco Giants while drinking homemade cocktails. Now, here are your hosts, Ben and Matthew Henry.
Hey there, cocktail lovers and baseball fanatics. Welcome to another giant-sized edition of Giant Cocktails Midweek Review. I'm your host, Matthew Henry, your friendly neighborhood stat geek, here to talk wins, losses, and all things frothy and shaken. But enough about me. Joining me, as always, is the Sultan of Sippers, the Grand Commander of Garnishes, the only man who can hit a fastball while crafting the perfect old-fashioned, my brother, Ben Henry. That's right, folks. He's not just throwing curveballs. He's throwing cocktail parties. So grab your glass, sit back, and let's dive in. Now, before I ask you how you're doing, let's just be clear. You could never hit a fastball, let alone while making a perfect old-fashioned.
What are you talking about, Matthew? Did you know that I have taken hacks in the Giants batting cage underneath the stadium?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I have actually taken batting practice on the infield of Peychaud Park when I lived in San Diego. So, but I did not know that about you, that you had taken batting practice in the batting cages.
That's right. I don't know. What speed it comes in is like 80 miles an hour?
60 miles an hour.
What's the speed that they throw? I don't know. They throw them 60 miles an hour? Really?
For you, they did.
No, they don't. No, they were going real fast. They were like, you had to sign a waiver and all this stuff. It was like the real deal. And I'll have you know that, Matthew, that I only missed 2 of the 10 pitches that I got. I fouled off all of the others, and I hit one back towards the pitcher. So nice. I can hit a fastball, sir.
All right. Well, when I did my batting practice, they actually set the cage up near second base. And I think they were trying to help you hit one out if you wanted to. It was actually a YMCA event. And I hit a couple that I thought I nailed, and it landed about 20 feet in front of the warning track.
Yeah, I was going to say, Matthew, I am proud of my comebacker to the pitcher. Okay, that's on a, 70? Maybe you were right. Maybe it was 60. There was no way I was going to hit any kind of thing out of any park, anywhere, ever. But I do make a mean old-fashioned.
You do, exactly. I just don't think you could be hitting a fastball while you're doing it. So how you doing, Sultan of Sippers, Grand Commander of Garnishes?
I'm doing pretty good, man. The old Perfect Sip podcast, creeping ever closer. We're only 6 days away from launch, Matthew.
Everybody is sitting with abated breath.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've had so many downloads. We ranked as high as 68th on iTunes for food podcasts in America.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Just for our trailer.
I think there must be only 68 food podcasts in America.
Well, I'm just glad that we're going to have another podcast where somebody can call us mediocre on our reviews.
Allegedly. Nobody can prove that review still exists.
That's true.
It's a disappearing review. We don't know what happened, folks, but we're pretty sure there was a 3-star review, which is like, who leaves a 3-star review, man? That's putting a lot of thought into Giant Cocktails. That's more thought than I put into it. I will tell you that. But it's disappeared. It's gone. It was there, and then it was gone. Like, we don't know. We don't know what happened. But anyway, enough about us.
Enough about that. What are you drinking today, Ben?
Well, Matthew, I'm glad you asked. Today, I am drinking the Fresh Ginger Fizz. And that, folks, is a sneak preview to the first cocktail that we will be having on the Perfect Sip. Now, what is in a Fresh Ginger Fizz? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to listen to the first episode of the Perfect Sip on Tuesday the 17th to find out what that is. And yeah, that's how this show's going to go from now on. I'm sorry.
Well, folks, I'm not doing that. I am actually drinking a cocktail that I just made up last night. One of those, I feel like a drink. What do I got in the old liquor cabinet? And I threw this together. It's a tiki-esque kind of drink that I'm calling Tiki Tok.
Oh, where did you come up with that name?
Yeah, I wonder. Anyway, it's got 2 ounces of white rum, I used up the last of my plantation rum, White Rum. And so now I'm going to, what's the new brand name, Ben?
It's called Plantaray.
Plantaray. So I will have to replace it with the Plantaray. 2 ounces White Rum, a half ounce of Falernum, which is a liqueur commonly found in tiki drinks, a half ounce of Peach Liqueur, 1 ounce of lime juice, 2 dashes of orange bitters, and 2 dashes of Peychaud's bitters. Put them all together into a cocktail shaker with ice. Give it a good shake until well chilled. Strain that into a rocks glass with fresh ice and garnish it with a lime wheel. And you get this nice kind of earthy, refreshing drink. And yeah, it's very reminiscent of a tiki drink. So that's what I'm drinking, Ben, today. My Tiki Tok.
Nice. I somehow suspect, Matthew, you were not the first mixologist to name a tiki cocktail Tiki Tok.
Probably not, but mine's going to be the most famous.
Sure, why not?
All right, well, enough about the drinks. We got some stuff to talk about today. First, as we get to the end of the season, we're going to start breaking down the positions and kind of talking about maybe next year. And so we're going to start with the outfielders. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about the outfielders that are on the 40-man and give that a little discussion. Then we're going to talk about the contracts of Farhan and Melvin and how they maybe not be as long as we had originally thought. So talk a little bit about that. And of course, we'll end with our lightning round topics. Today, Ben, is Wednesday, September 11th. And it really feels really weird to say the word September 11th, but that's when we're recording. The Giants are, as we record this podcast, it is 11-2 in the 8th inning. So I'm going to call that a win. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Giants are back to homeostasis at 72-74. So far, they've gone 1-1 in their 3-game series against the Brew Crew. And, Blake Snell and the vaunted San Francisco Giants offense taking control today. We won't talk about what happened on Tuesday. Anyway, Ben, maybe we should just jump right into this. So I realized yesterday that there are 8 outfielders on the 40-man, if you include Lee. Jung-Hoo Lee, who's I think on the 60-day IL, was technically not on the 40-man, but anyway, he would be if he was not on the IL.
I think they're officially on it.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, I think
they're officially on it, but there's more than 40 then.
Right. I think you're officially on it, but because you're on the 60-day IL, you do not count against the cap.
Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, so they're still on it. Okay, so let's go over the 8 outfielders on the 40-man. So we got Michael Conforto. Then we got Yaz, Mike Yastrzemski. Then Elliot Ramos, Jung-Hoo Lee, Luis Matos, Grant McCray, Gerard Encarnacion, and everybody's favorite guy, Wade Meckler. So all those guys are on the 40-man. As I mentioned, though, as we go into 2025, Conforto is a free agent after the season ends. And so really hoping that he doesn't come back. Most likely will not come back. And so then we've got 7 guys for maybe 5 possible slots. The name not mentioned in this list, though, Ben, is Juan Soto. We should just kind of put that in there. Just kind of put his name just as a little maybe, as a maybe.
Is the question, Matthew, which one of them are definitely which ones are coming back? I think we need to dive right in onto one particular name because a lot of people are saying like this guy might be non-tendered. I think we can both agree Conforto is not coming back. I know that you said hopefully, but I think you're just saying that to taunt me.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, because I just don't see that there's any possible way that Conforto is coming back because there won't be room for Juan Soto, Matthew. And are we going to sign Juan Soto?
No, but we will try to sign Juan Soto.
Wow. You've grown. Or you've just become more jaded.
What's that phrase? Was it fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me kind of thing? Well, I'm at fool me like 4th times. Then finally it's like shame on
So you've realized that you're buried in a pile of shame.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Matos, McCray, Lee, and Ramos, you were saying those are the likely names to be on the 26-man roster next year. And I would agree with that. But then included in that group, Matthew, you have one Michael Yastrzemski. think a lot of people are going to be A, upset if that happens, and B, surprised. Defend yourself.
Well, so Bob Melvin this week said that Mike Yastrzemski was a valuable member of the team, and it made it sound like he wanted him back, and that they have plan on bringing him back. So I'm just going by what Melvin said. Yeah, I mean, I think if he didn't come back, it wouldn't be a surprise. But he's an above average player that's at a relatively reasonable price. He's going to get a little bump up from his $9.5 million that he's making now or whatever. But I honestly don't see them getting rid of him unless they bring in someone like Soto. He might be the casualty if they're going to bring in a true upgrade in the outfield. But other than that, if they don't, then I see Yaz coming back for sure.
I agree with you that it is very likely that the Giants will bring Yaz back. Because the reason is that he is a very valuable kind of player, right? He is the kind of player that almost every team wants to have on their bench. The problem is that if he eats in too much playing time versus players that should be playing instead of him, right? And I think that's where a lot of people are frustrated by Yaz. That's one of the reasons that I'm frustrated by Conforto, obviously, and I've been lumping Yaz into that. I think Yaz is a great player, and I think he would be a great addition to the team. But I think there are a lot of Giants fans out there that expect and want him to not be on the roster next year. So that is a controversial name, I think, within Giants Nation. But I'm going to have to agree with you. This list looks pretty accurate to me with Yaz. And Ramos.
That's the French pronunciation. Yeah.
That's right. But anyway, so Yaz, Ramos, Lee, Matos, and McRae. Yeah, I think this is the right set of names. I think that is the likely list that starts opening day. I think there could be some room between maybe Matos and Meckler, maybe. Bob really seems to like Gerard. You know?
Well, but he's out of options, so I don't see him being on the team next year, considering all these other young guys. I think he's the odd man out.
Yeah, I think this is right.
Well, and I do think, though, I mean, looking at these guys, right? We've been hearing forever that the Giants want to get younger and more athletic, and then you're looking at this potential outfield, Yaz aside, and you're like, wow, yeah, that's younger and more athletic. What it doesn't do is really kind of bring in a lot of optimism around offensive, fortitude. I don't know what the word is, but
Matthew, I'll tell you what you're looking for. You're looking for a track record. You're looking for an experienced veteran. That's what you don't see here.
It is. And so maybe that's the leap of faith that we have to take on some of these young guys, right? I mean, Grant McRae is hitting home runs at a pace that over a full season would be a 30 home run plus pace. So maybe that's there. Maybe it's there, but maybe it's not.
I think a full year of Ramos.
Yeah.
Right. And giving Matos a real chance. And I think you're right. The problem is that it's also likely that some of these guys are not going to pan out. And the real question that's going to come down to this is, like, are the Giants willing to finally take that step where they hand the car keys over to the kids?
No.
Yeah. Like, I don't know that the Giants have that in them. So,
and we're going to talk about this in the second segment, but there's some contracts on the line. There's some people's jobs on the line for next year. I just don't see them going, oh yeah, we're going to stake our career on Luis Matos and Grant McRae being what we need them to be in the outfield. I just don't see that. And desperation kind of might push Farhan and them to do something go in a different direction. Is what I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of what ifs, and I just don't think that Farhan would be comfortable with a what if.
I look at this outfield and I am not excited. Right? It has the potential
for excitement, right? The young guys play well, and then you're like really excited about that for sure. But it's just as likely, if not more likely, that they don't live up to expectations.
Right. I mean, Grant McRae, the strikeouts might catch up to him. Everybody in the league will realize that he swings at everything, and you don't have to throw him strikes, right? Ramos might, right? Like, this might be just a statistical anomaly, and he could regress to the mean next year. Matos might not pan out at all. And so there's a lot of things, like, Lee might continue to disappoint, right? He never got going this year before he got hurt. Now he's coming back from a major injury. There's a lot of reasons to not like this outfield. So that being said, though, like, these are the young guys. I mean, these are the guys that you built your reputation around. So it's these guys or it's a free agent. And unless it's Juan Soto, which it's not going to be, right? It's not going to be Juan Soto. Although Juan Soto's stats in Oracle Park, number one, he's played a significant number of games there relative to all the other parks, and he's actually hit pretty well there.
I think he just wants to stay in New York, though. I can't imagine him wanting to.
But yeah, I mean, why would you leave that? They love you there. You're playing well there. Everything's working. Like,
You've got some real hitters behind you and in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's...
Sure, and then Aaron Judge has already shown you how to do it. So yeah, you come to San Francisco, you trick everybody into thinking that you like them, but you're going to sign with the Yankees at the end of the day. And that's what Juan Soto is likely to do. The question is, will Farhan bet everything on that guy again and then be caught holding the bag with no other options and has to go with this outfield? Or will Farhan find a way to get one of his retreads or his scrap heap bargain bin guys, or two of them, and bounce two of these guys back to AAA and roll with the retreads next year? And I think that just seems as likely as us seeing this outfield.
So, way to lead off the whole, let's look at next year's team, Ben, and feel great about it. I don't feel great about it.
Well, I mean, you're the one who wrote the names down, man. Like, You wrote these names down.
I thought I was going to talk myself into this outfield being a good one. And the only thing I can think of is it's got the potential to be a good one.
Right.
But I don't know how you can go into the season thinking that this is going to be a top 10 outfield or top 5 outfield for sure. So Well, you know what? I think this is the outfield they should go with. This is the outfield they should go with. Well, certainly they'll cover a lot of ground. I mean, we've got Bob Melvin himself said that they need to start bringing in outfielders, or have outfielders that played at Oracle. And so these guys certainly do. I mean, Grant McCray has got an incredible arm and could slide over into right field as an everyday right fielder. Lee, obviously, they're going to keep him in center because they signed him to be their center fielder. You got Ramos in left. That leaves like Yaz and Matos as your 4th and 5th outfielders and DH. So, I mean, it has the potential, sure. And on the defensive side, certainly a very strong outfield. But offensively, I'm a little concerned.
I want to be very clear. I think this is what they should go with, right?
That's what they have, right? Yeah.
I mean, sure, take a shot at Soto. Maybe you'll get lucky. But other than that, this is the outfield I think they should go with. And I think that it does have the potential. So lean into the potential. For better or for worse, this is what you've spent the last 5 years building if you're Farhan Zaidi. Time to roll with your guys. And these are your guys.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, these are the guys you developed. Now let's see how they do.
Yeah, don't chicken out. Don't chicken out.
Okay, well, speaking of Farhan, Ben. All right, so we learned from John Shea of the Chronicle this week that Farhan and Melvin actually do not have guaranteed contracts through 2026 like we were led to believe when Melvin came on board.
This is stunning to me. This is stunning to me.
And they all sat up there and said, we got 3-year contracts. And then, right after they announced that Melvin signed a 3-year contract, then we signed Farhan to the same contract as Melvin. And so it made it sound like they were both getting 3-year deals. And now we learned that no, in fact, their guarantee ends after next season. And so what does that mean, for the Giants?
I think it means 2 things, Matthew. It means that Farhan's definitely coming back next year.
Because they would have let go of him already.
Right. No, I mean, they can get out of that contract in a year. Like, what difference is this year going to make?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that they get to see everything Farhan's plan play out for another year, which I think is to their benefit. Even if they decide to go in a different direction. It just makes everything easier if you wait out this next extra year. So I think it definitely means that Farhan's coming back for 2025. But it's very interesting. That means that there's a very strong possibility that he won't come back for 2026 because it's not going to cost the organization any money at all. And it allows them to do a clean slate with the new hobo, if they go in that direction, who can then decide to hire whatever manager they want, which might be Bob Melvin or it might not. And so I think that's the first thing that it guarantees. I think the second thing that it means is like, it's put up or shut up time, man. Like, no more, we're going to let this play out. No more, we're going to wait and see. Like, this is it. 2025 is it. And
well, yeah, but I think it also explains a little bit about the free agent they had this last year, right? I mean, this was supposed to be that year.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be with the Blake Snell and the Robbie Ray and the Matt Chapman and the Jorge Soler signings. This was supposed to be the year that Farhan proves that he can do it. And because now we know that he's only got 1 year left guaranteed on his contract. And so now that didn't come to fruition. You got to feel like Farhan's feeling the heat now, right?
Oh, I mean,
there's no way about it.
I think he's been feeling the heat.
So I just don't see how they can go in with status quo. We talked about those 5 outfielders. I don't know how he goes in there knowing that he's only got 1 year on his contract and then he's going to just live or die by those guys. I just don't see it.
So you think he's a desperate man who will do desperate things?
I do think so. And maybe that desperation will be a good thing. Maybe it won't. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is interesting because what he could end up doing is saddling the Giants with a bunch of bad contracts and then have it not pan out next year, and then we're in a worse situation, right? That's the downside. The upside means the man is willing to spend money, right? And maybe he will do things a little bit differently because even though, you say this was supposed to be the year, I mean, Blake Snell didn't sign until a week left of spring training. Like, if Farhan Zaidi was like his design all along was we're going to sign Blake Snell, he played himself. Right? If he just got lucky and thought, wow, I never thought we were going to get Snell and I never thought he was going to be here and sure, we'll take him for a year, then great. But if he was playing hard to get, then he played himself because the first half of the season was a total disaster for Snell. If the Giants have Blake Snell for the whole season with a full spring training, this team is significantly better. Is it good enough to make the playoffs? I don't know. I don't think so. But it's significantly better. Chapman wasn't signed until after spring training. So if that's what Farhan Zaidi looks like when the plan is finally all coming together, that's weird, dude. That's a weird look. That's a weird look. I mean, you ended up signing Matt Chapman for 7 years and $181 million anyway. At the end of the day, that's what the deal was. Because the extension he signed is 151 on top of 30 for 6 years on top of the 1. You couldn't have done that earlier? Well, it's just weird. It's weird for me that this is what your plan coming together looks like. Because it just looks sort of accidental to me.
It does. I think that's all I mean, that word keeps coming to my mind for everything that Farhan has done. Even his top rookies this year were accidental. There hasn't been anything that has been a consistent, progressive approach to this. And it just seems like he's kind of winging it at this point because the original plan hasn't really worked out. And so now he's kind of getting to the end of things and there's just some desperation there. I think it'll be interesting to see how that plays out this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, well, what I'd like to know is what was the original plan?
The original plan was to build up the farm system and to be competitive while he did it. And that's why we had all those platoons and all that sort of stuff at the beginning. And that was understandable because you're like, yeah, the farm system, you got to build that up. Well, now we're 6 years in and the farm system is starting to produce some good talent, but it's not enough. We haven't been able to attract the big free agent to really sit in the middle of our lineup and be that difference maker. So
nobody looks at the Giants farm system and says it's good. They're not ranked highly by anybody.
No, just like us, they're mediocre.
That's right. We're the chocolate to the Giants' peanut butter. Just a bunch of mediocrity. At the end of the day, that could be it, Matthew. That could be the legacy of Farhan Zaidi's tenure as the hobo of the San Francisco Giants. Mediocre.
Yeah.
Just like Giant Cocktails.
It's time for a lightning round.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Lightning round.
All right. Here it comes, Ben. So today, Gerard Encarnacion came pretty close to hitting a ball out of into McCovey Cove. I mean, it wasn't close, but he hit it up onto the arcade. Would you be mad if he became the first right-hander to hit a ball into McCovey Cove?
No, because whatever right-hander does it deserves it.
Yeah, I'm holding on to the fact that Buster almost did it. And I'd want it to be kind of a more like forever Giant. I want it to be like Matt Chapman now that he's kind of in here for the long haul. I just, somebody that you just know is a great Giant. I just, Gerard Encarnacion, he's going to be playing for like Kansas City next year. And like, why would we want him to be the first?
I think that whoever does it will be a forever Giant. He could be the Ernie Riles.
Okay. Landon Roop had his first career start on Tuesday, believe it or not. Seems like we've been seeing a lot of them from the beginning of the season, but it was his first start. Could he be a key to the Giants' success in 2025?
Could he be? Sure. Will he be? He might be. I think he's a name that we should add to Farhan Zaidi's list of young starting pitching. He was labeled as a starter. And I think he could be a very, very important guy for the Giants. I don't think he's been awful.
Well, his biggest problem has been walks. I mean, he's walked a lot of players, but since early August, he has held his opponents to a 169 batting average, and he's only allowed one home run in 156 batters faced this year. So, I mean, those are some pluses. The start that he made, 5 innings pitched, no walks. And he's finally starting to incorporate other pitches besides that amazing curveball that he has. And while he still relies on it, it seems like he's getting a little bit better at some of his secondary pitches. So if he continues this development, which I think is crazy, like he's really developing at the major league level, I think that he will be a big part of next year.
I agree. I think it's interesting how you say he's developing at the major league level. That happens all the time. It's just the Giants do it with their relief pitchers because they feel safe doing that, because they can hide a guy, they can bury him for a few days. They just don't like to do that with their position players. And maybe there's a lesson in that.
Yeah. All right, Ben, second to last question. Will you miss the City Connect jerseys?
No.
They announced this week that their last City Connect game was on Tuesday. They have a 30-15 record while wearing them, Ben. How could you say you're not going to miss them?
No, I'm not going to miss them because they're ugly. And there will be City Connect jerseys. They're just making new ones. So what you're saying is they're getting rid of the hard shell candy helmets and the creamsicles. So the creamsicle uniforms are going away. But there will be a new jersey. I never liked these uniforms. I liked the idea of them. I thought the fog effect was too light. They look very one-dimensional. And then when they added the hard shell candy tops, that just ruined them for me.
I really like the hat. I actually have a City Connect orange hat. I like those ones.
I was referring to the helmet.
A lot.
The helmet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I really like the hat, and I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss the City Connects just because of the hat.
Okay, I think I should ask the next one because you have such a problem with this question.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Do me the favor.
All right,
Yes,
Matthew.
Yes.
Will the Giants make the playoffs?
No. No. Still mathematically possible, though.
It is still mathematically possible, and that's why we're still asking the question.
I mean, hey, they just put 13 up on Milwaukee, so maybe this is the beginning. All right, well, upcoming opponents after we finish the Milwaukee series on Thursday, we got the Padres coming back to town, the 82-64 Padres.
Stop it.
I hate that the Padres are good.
Yeah, you and me both, Bob. You and me both. They're actually tied with the D-Bags for the first wild card spot right now. And then players who have played for both teams, the catchers addition, Benito Santiago, Doug Mirabelli, and Brian Johnson, who famously hit the walk-off home run against the Dodgers in 1997 to help propel the Giants to the NL West title. Go back and YouTube that one. That was a great moment.
That's a good home run. That's a good home run. Yeah. It would be so nice if we could sweep the Padres and help knock them out of the playoffs.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah. Which probably means it's not going to happen. And that's a wrap on the midweek review, folks. Thank you for joining us. We will be back on Monday with the big show, where the cocktails will be stronger and the rants will be longer. If you can't wait that long to get your fix, feel free to reach out to us on the social medias. You can find us on Instagram and Threads and Mastodon and that other place that Matthew keeps insisting exists, where we go by the username Giant Cocktails. Don't forget, you can also listen to us on YouTube, so run over there to like, subscribe, and comment. But most importantly, be sure to leave us a positive review, like 5 stars positive, not 3 stars mediocre. Okay? Like, we know we're mediocre. That's why we don't play ads. That's not why. It's because we don't want to put this to. It's a lot of work. Anyway, at your podcasting platform of choice, a.k.a. Apple Podcasts or Sporacleify.
On that note, though, we missed a 5-star review that somebody left us in August. And so I do want to say thank you to DJE SEF. He gave us a 5-star review and said, just an awesome podcast for any diehard Giants fan. So thank you very much. I'm going to ignore the person who gave us a 2-star review. And then the one person who gave us a 1-star review, like, who hurt you? You know, why would you go out of your way to just leave, especially a 2-star? Come on.
Yeah, the
man.
2-star, the 2-star is like, don't do that. Don't do that.
It's either 1 or a 5, folks.
It's either a 1 or a 5. I mean, the 1, yay. Amen to you, brother. I support you. Thank you for the 1-star. Thank you for the 1-star. Also, yes, thank you for the 5 stars. But 2 stars, what is that? Commit, man, commit. Matthew, you were choppy today. Keep up the good work. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, Ben. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Giant Cocktails Podcast. Until next time, bottoms up.
That was choppy. Poor microphone. My microphone. You're going to have fun editing this.
It's going to be miserable. I'm going to be up all night. Are the Giants scored enough runs to put out a position pitcher?
They did, but they did not actually use a
Position pitcher.
They finished with Sean Jelly.
Wow. Amazing. Do you think we'll ever see Tyler Fitzgerald pitch again?
No.
Yeah. I can't believe Bob Melvin sent him out there 3 times. Melvin. We should ask, I hope somebody asks him that. Do you regret doing that? Do you regret sending Tyler Fitzgerald out to pitch 3 times?
He would say no.